Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm going to be talking about who is the most famous merchant or merger of all time in old school RuneScape. This person has been able to manipulate prices, had a complete stranglehold on the Third Age marketplace at the birth of the Grand Exchange, and is overall probably the most famous merchant of all time. Anyway guys, hope you enjoy, and let's get started. So without a doubt, the most famous merchant of all time is Wilson. Now I'm not sure how much he plays anymore, but he did actually have a YouTube channel as well as streaming, so I'll leave a link in the description. So the story kind of starts when the Grand Exchange was released into Old School RuneScape. So to begin with here, he actually had about a bill. Now he had been flipping from person to person when Old School RuneScape came out, but when the Grand Exchange came out is really when he made his fortune. So he's extremely well known for flipping Third Age equipment, and in particular the Third Age longsword. So while Third Age equipment is extremely rare now, the prices back then were much higher and there's way fewer Third Age pieces in the game. Like, to put it in perspective, I think for a long time there was no Third Age cloak in the game. There was one, and then it got removed from a bug abuse, making there none in the game. Third Age longsword, there was more of them in the game, but still not that many. While the price of Third Age longswords are still extremely expensive, the rest of Third Age has tanked it quite a bit since. So Wilson started by merging Ellie's, Third Age equipment, arcanes. Really, he was going for the most expensive items in the game that were low volume, because I think he preferred merging slower flips that didn't require as much attention. Plus, the margins on these things were insane, especially at the release of the Grand Exchange. If you look at some of these pictures, I mean, he's getting 100 mil flips on some of these pieces of equipment, which of course just really doesn't exist that much anymore. So like I said earlier, he was able to pretty much manipulate the market by himself by having such a large capital to begin with and buying out some of these items that there just really were not a lot in the game. Like, there could be single digits of some of these items. So we start off by buying items like the Third Age cloak and just trying to buy all of them, because if you own all of them, you can to some extent determine the selling price. So he was able to obtain 3 out of 4 of the Third Age cloaks in the game, and was planning on waiting for them to rise up and try to force the market higher, but he ended up dumping them. I mean, still for a couple 100 mil profit on each one. The most famous merch is that of the Third Age longsword. When he started, they were around 500 or 600 mil he was buying them on the Grand Exchange for. They continued to rise and rise and rise as he bought every single Third Age longsword that would come into the game. Got to a point where if anyone wanted a Third Age longsword, they would have to go through him personally. There was even a clan chat he was advertising where he would sell these Third Age longswords. So he kept obtaining more and more and more of them, and the price continued to rise, and eventually it even hit max cash, and still he was buying them for max cash in the Grand Exchange, continuing to acquire them. I'm not entirely sure how many he had at one time, but got to the point where people were paying above max cash just to have a Third Age longsword, because there was absolutely no other way to get them. For one, people just really didn't have enough money to compete with them. 2 bill for an item, not many people actually have that. Plus, his offers were probably in there longer, so they would complete before other people, even if they had max cash. Like I said earlier, he was able to sell them for above max cash stack, 3 bill, and even 4 bill in one transaction, which is absolutely ridiculous. So it goes to show that one person can completely dominate a sector of the market, and it didn't seem like he got banned for price manipulation, because it seems to only apply to groups of people. So that was by far his most famous flip. Of course, he flipped a ton of other stuff. There's a very in-depth flipping log on this website, Let's Flip, which I will also leave a link in the description for. It's a really interesting read through all his flips. They're just ridiculous. They make me so jealous and envious. After a while, his bank was worth, I think, 40 bill plus, but sadly his account, Wilson, did eventually get banned. Now, it was banned for real world trading. However, he did refute that by stating that his account had been hacked and the money real world traded off of it. It's hard to know for sure, but the fact that he had accumulated 40 bill without real world trading any of it kind of makes me think that he may be telling the truth. From all his posts, it really seems like he was against it. He really just wanted to do it for the fun of it and for that sweet pixel GP. So it really just goes to show what a little bit of ingenuity and a solid amount of money to begin with here can really go towards your bank. Old School RuneScape Gold, at the minimum you could sell for $1 per mil, so I mean, so he theoretically could have had $40,000 worth of money. But I don't want to fixate too much on that, the actual worth, because theoretically it's not worth anything. Anyway, that's about it, guys. I went ahead and did just some reading on this the other day, and I thought it would make an interesting video. If you do enjoy stuff like this, don't forget to leave a video a like. I'll try to find some other kind of cool historic flipping things, or maybe just some other historic RuneScape moments I can maybe go make another video of. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.